It was 6:47 p.m. when Emma realized something was off. The sunlight slipped through the blinds, casting stripes across her living room floor, but the warmth didn't reach her heart. She had just come home from work, a 34-year-old woman who had built her life carefully, piece by piece, only to feel it tremble under her feet. Her phone buzzed with a message from Lucas, her fiancé. She frowned before opening it. Running late, don't wait up, again. She should have been used to it, but the sting never dulled. Emma had always been honest, sometimes painfully so. She had promised herself long ago that she'd never lie, not to anyone, not even when the truth hurt. But honesty, she was learning, didn't always guarantee happiness. She poured herself a cup of tea and sank into the couch, letting her thoughts drift. Lucas had been distant for weeks. Calls ended abruptly, messages went unanswered, and dinners together felt forced. She wanted to ask why, but something inside her held back. She knew the answer might break her. Just then, her best friend, Megan, called. "Hey, Em, are you still up for dinner tomorrow?" Megan's voice was cheerful, but Emma could hear the slight edge of concern underneath. I think I'll pass," Emma said softly. She didn't explain why. She couldn't. Not yet. Hanging up, she stared at the teacup. Memories of Lucas flooded in. The way he smiled when he first kissed her. The late-night conversations that seemed to go on forever. The small gestures that made her feel seen. And now, it felt like a stranger had taken his place. Her apartment door clicked, and she jumped. Lucas was home. Not late, right on time. But something was different. The scent of cologne was new, unfamiliar. He looked tired, his tie loosened, his expression unreadable. "Hey," he said, trying to smile. It didn't reach his eyes. "Hey," she replied, her voice smaller than usual. They sat in silence for a moment, both aware that the unspoken words were heavier than anything they could say aloud. Emma's fingers fidgeted with the edge of her sleeve, her stomach twisting. She wanted to ask, needed to ask, but the courage faltered. "Em," Lucas began, "there's something I need to tell you." Her heart skipped. She nodded, bracing herself. "I've made a mistake," he admitted. "A big one. And I think you deserve to know before it gets worse." Emma's mind raced. Mistake? What kind of mistake? Her pulse quickened, but she forced herself to stay calm. She had promised herself she'd face the truth, no matter how painful. "It's complicated," Lucas continued. "I didn't want to hurt you, but I can't keep hiding it." Emma swallowed hard. She had never felt so fragile and alert at the same time. The room felt smaller. The clock ticked loudly. Her entire future seemed to hang in that moment. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You'll hate me," Lucas said. "Maybe forever." And then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said it. The words that would change everything. Emma felt the room tilt, her vision blur, and a heaviness settle over her chest. Her own promise to herself, never lie again, suddenly felt fragile, fragile as glass. And as the words sank in, she realized that the truth had arrived in the worst way possible. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more touching tales. Emma sat frozen. She wanted to scream, to run, to hide. Instead, she let the silence stretch, feeling each second sting. She knew that nothing would ever be the same. Outside, the city lights blinked on, indifferent to her heartbreak. Inside, a storm brewed, one that no amount of honesty could easily calm. Would she confront him? Would she forgive? Or would the lie buried beneath the surface explode in a way neither of them could control? The answer, she realized, would define everything she thought she knew about love, trust, and herself. And at that moment, Emma understood that life's most painful truths often came wrapped in the people we trusted most. The evening stretched on. Emma's mind spun with what-ifs and why-nots. And as she stared out the window, the first tear slipped down her cheek, not from anger, not from sadness, but from the helplessness of knowing the life she had planned might never happen. Her phone buzzed again, a message from Lucas. She hesitated, hand hovering over the screen, wondering if she could face it. Would the next moment bring clarity, or would it shatter her completely? Emma didn't know yet. And somewhere, deep inside, a small voice whispered. Emma stared at her phone, the screen glowing softly in the darkened room. Lucas's message blinked at her. "Can we talk, please?" She wanted to throw the phone across the room. She wanted to run. She wanted to crawl under the blankets and pretend none of this was happening. But she didn't. She opened the message. Her thumb hovered over the keyboard, unsure if words could even begin to match the chaos inside her. By 7:15 p.m., Lucas had stepped into the living room again. He looked smaller somehow, as if the weight of his confession had shrunk him. "Emma, I need you to hear me out," he said, his voice low. There was fear in his eyes, something she hadn't seen before. "Okay, I'm listening." He sat down beside her, careful not to touch her. Every instinct in her screamed at her to push him away, to protect herself. But something in his expression made her hesitate. "I made a choice," he said, "and it wasn't fair to you. Not even a little. But I can't change it. I can only tell you." Her chest tightened. The words were vague, terrifyingly vague, but they carried the weight of something irreversible. Lucas's hands trembled. I got involved with someone else. I didn't plan for it. It just happened." Emma felt the room spin. She gripped the arm of the couch, nails digging into the fabric. "Someone else?" she asked, barely above a whisper. "Yes," he admitted. "I thought I could fix it. Thought I could end it before you ever found out. But I was wrong." For a moment, Emma didn't speak. Her mind was a whirlwind of betrayal, hurt, and disbelief. She thought she had prepared herself for anything. She hadn't. Not for this. "You lied," she said finally, voice steady but cold. "You lied to me. After everything, you lied." "I know," Lucas said, bowing his head. "And I can't ask you to forgive me. I needed you to know the truth before it got worse. I couldn't live with the lie anymore." The apartment felt suffocating. Emma rose and walked to the window, staring out at the city below. Lights flickered in buildings, people going about their lives, oblivious to her heartbreak. The world hadn't stopped for her pain. She turned back to him, eyes glistening. "How long?" Lucas flinched. "A few months. I never wanted it to happen, I swear. I thought I could handle it, keep it compartmentalized. I was wrong." Emma sank back onto the couch, covering her face with her hands. Rage and sorrow tangled inside her. She felt small, insignificant, but the hurt burned like fire. "I swore I'd never lie again," she whispered, echoing a promise she had made to herself years ago. "I promised myself honesty above everything. And you shattered that." "I know," Lucas said again, his voice breaking. "And I deserve whatever comes next, whatever you decide." The silence that followed was thick. Emma didn't know if she could trust him again, didn't know if she wanted to. Every memory they had built together now felt tainted, a fragile dream crumbling under reality. Hours passed in quiet torment. Words had run out. Emotions clashed in her chest like storms, fierce and unrelenting. She knew she had to make a decision, tonight, or it would haunt her forever. Finally, she spoke, her voice firm but trembling. "I need space. I can't just move past this. Not yet." Lucas nodded, looking defeated. "I understand." She gathered her coat and bag. "I'm going for a walk," she said. "I need to think." Outside, the night was cool and quiet. Streetlights painted pools of gold on the sidewalks. Emma walked without direction, letting her feet carry her wherever they would. Each step was heavy, a reminder that nothing would feel normal again. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Lucas. She didn't look. She didn't want to. But the fear that he might be gone for good gnawed at her. Emma wandered through the city, past familiar places that now felt foreign. The cafe where they had shared late-night desserts, the park where they had talked about their future. It all seemed like someone else's life, someone who no longer existed. Her thoughts swirled. Could she forgive him? Could she trust him again? She wanted to, but a part of her recoiled from the thought. She had sworn never to lie. She had sworn never to let herself be hurt like this again. Could she hold on to that promise and still find love? And then she realized something that made her chest tighten even more. The lie wasn't just about Lucas. It was about herself, too. She had ignored the warning signs, had chosen to believe in a future that might never exist. Emma sank onto a bench in the park, staring at the stars peeking through the night sky. Her heart ached, but a small, stubborn part of her refused to give up. She would face the truth, no matter how painful, and she would find a way to protect herself. But right now, she allowed herself to cry. Not just for Lucas's betrayal, but for the innocence she had lost, for the trust she had given too freely. And somewhere deep inside, she felt a spark of resolve. She wouldn't be destroyed by this. She would rise, she would rebuild, and she would demand the honesty she deserved, no matter the cost. The night stretched on, quiet and unforgiving, and as Emma sat alone, a single thought repeated in her mind. Some truths hurt more when they come from the ones we love the most. Yet, even in the pain, she couldn't shake the feeling that her story was far from over. Her phone buzzed once more, and this time, she knew answering it could change everything. Emma stared at her phone, the screen lighting up her tear-streaked face. Lucas's name flashed across it. She hesitated. Should she answer? Should she let him explain further? Or should she finally draw a line, cut the cord, and walk away? She ignored the call. She needed clarity, not excuses. Her fingers trembled as she typed a single message, "I need time." Then she pressed send and set the phone down. The park was almost empty, the cool night wrapping around her like a protective blanket. She inhaled deeply, trying to steady the storm inside her. Every step she had taken away from the apartment felt like walking through a fog of disbelief. Emma's mind replayed every interaction, every subtle shift in Lucas's behavior. She remembered the small lies, the little inconsistencies she had shrugged off, and suddenly the whole picture seemed clearer and more painful. "Emma?" She turned sharply. Megan stood a few feet away, concern etched on her face. "I thought I'd find you here," Megan said, walking closer. "You've been avoiding everyone." Emma swallowed hard. "I needed space." Megan nodded. "I figured. But you don't have to go through this alone. You know that, right?" Emma hesitated. She wanted to believe it. She wanted comfort, but the betrayal still burned too bright. It's complicated, she admitted. I don't even know where to start. Megan sat beside her on the bench. Start with the truth, she said simply. Everything else can wait. You deserve that much, at least. Emma let out a shaky breath. He lied, she said. Lucas, he was with someone else for months, and he swore he was ending it before I ever found out. Megan's face softened. Oh, Em, I'm so sorry. I know you didn't deserve that. The words were kind, but they didn't erase the hurt. Emma hugged her knees to her chest. I swore I'd never lie again. I promised myself honesty above all else, and now I feel like I can't trust anything, not even myself. Megan took her hand. You're not alone in this. You'll figure it out. And whatever you decide, make sure it's for you, not because someone else made mistakes. Emma nodded, trying to absorb her friend's strength. She realized that part of her had been living in denial. Lucas's betrayal wasn't just a blow, it was a signal. Something in their relationship had shifted long before the lies surfaced. That night, she walked home slowly, each step heavy with contemplation. Her apartment felt empty, distant, like a house she no longer recognized. Inside, she found Lucas waiting, eyes downcast. Emma, he said quietly, I didn't want to pressure you, but I need to be honest. There's more. Her stomach twisted. More? She wasn't sure she could handle it, but the truth demanded to be heard, and her curiosity, painful as it was, overpowered her hesitation. Lucas took a deep breath. She's not just someone I made a mistake with. It's complicated. She's someone from my past, someone I shouldn't have let back into my life, and when I did, it got out of control. Emma's hands trembled. Control? He nodded, guilt heavy on his shoulders. I thought I could manage it. I thought I could keep it separate. I lied to protect you. I lied because I didn't want to lose you. But in doing that, I lost everything anyway. Emma felt her world tilt again. She had wanted honesty, and now she had it in full force. The weight of it crushed her. She realized that sometimes the truth didn't heal. It hurt, brutally. And now? She asked softly. Lucas looked at her, eyes pleading. I want to fix it. I want to make things right. But I understand if you can't forgive me. I needed you to know the whole truth before it was too late. Emma turned away, feeling the sting of betrayal mix with a flicker of lingering love. It wasn't simple anymore. It hadn't been simple for weeks, maybe months. And now the truth had exploded, leaving only fragments of the life they had built. She sat silently, thinking of all the times she had ignored the red flags, all the moments she had convinced herself that love would conquer everything. Love wasn't enough. Not this time. Hours passed in quiet tension. Emma knew she had to make a choice, but she didn't yet know what it would be. Forgiveness felt impossible. Walking away felt unbearable. And the life she thought she had with Lucas seemed like a distant memory. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely audible. I need answers, not excuses, not promises. I need the truth, everything. Lucas nodded solemnly. You'll get it, I promise. No more lies. Emma's heart raced, caught between hope and fear. She realized that sometimes seeking the truth could be more terrifying than living in ignorance, but she couldn't stop herself now. That night, as the city slept, Emma made a silent vow. She would uncover everything, every hidden truth, every shadow in their relationship, and when it was done, she would decide what kind of future, if any, she wanted. The road ahead was uncertain, winding through heartbreak, anger, and betrayal. But Emma was determined. She would face the storm, no matter how fierce it raged. And as she looked at Lucas, the man she had loved and trusted, she understood a painful reality. The truth might destroy them both, or it might set her free. The next morning, Emma woke to silence. The apartment felt colder than usual, the air heavy with yesterday's revelations. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, trying to make sense of what she had learned. Lucas hadn't spoken a word since she returned home last night. He seemed almost defeated. Emma knew she had a decision to make. She could leave now, walk out the door, and reclaim her life. Or she could stay and demand the full truth, no matter how painful. And part of her, the stubborn, hopeful part, wanted to stay. Lucas appeared in the doorway, looking worn. "Emma, I've been thinking. I want to tell you everything. No excuses, no hiding." "I'm listening," she said, her voice steady but laced with tension. He took a deep breath. "Her name is Claire. We knew each other years ago. She reached out recently, and I thought I could handle it. I told myself it was just a friendship, but it wasn't. I got involved emotionally before I realized what was happening." Emma's hands trembled. She wanted to scream, to throw something, to shake him until he understood the depth of her pain. But she stayed silent. She wanted every word, every detail. "I never wanted to lie to you," Lucas continued. "I swore I could stop it, but I didn't, and I've hated myself every day for it. I should have told you immediately. I know that now." Emma's mind raced. The pieces were falling into place. The missed calls, the distant glances, the subtle changes in his behavior. And now, the truth was raw and unforgiving, laid bare before her. "Why now?" she asked finally. "Why tell me after months? Why not before I found out?" Lucas looked down. "Because I was scared. Scared of losing you. Scared of what the truth would do to us. And I thought maybe I could fix it without hurting you. I was wrong." Emma stood, pacing the room. She felt a mix of anger, sorrow, and disbelief. "You don't get to decide when and how I should know. You made the choice. You lied. And now I have to live with it, with every memory tainted by what you did." "I know," Lucas said softly. "I deserve your anger. I don't expect forgiveness. At least, not yet. I just wanted to be honest, fully honest, before it destroyed us completely." Emma sank back onto the couch, feeling exhausted. Her mind was spinning. Could she forgive him? Could she even trust him again? And if she did, what kind of relationship could survive after this? "I need time," she whispered. "I need to think." Lucas nodded, pain etched on his face. "Take all the time you need. I'll wait. I'll accept whatever decision you make." That night, Emma lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Sleep wouldn't come. Her mind was a whirlwind of what-ifs, why-nots, and the bitter realization that love didn't always protect you from heartbreak. The next day, Emma decided to confront Claire. She needed answers, closure, and to understand exactly what had happened. Her hands shook as she dialed the number, but she forced herself to stay calm. Claire answered on the second ring. "Hello?" Her voice was casual, almost friendly. "Claire," Emma said, her voice steady despite the storm inside. "We need to talk. I know about you and Lucas. I need the truth." There was a pause. Then Claire said, "I didn't want this to happen, Emma. I didn't want to hurt you. But yes, Lucas and it happened. I never meant for it to go this far." Emma's chest tightened. "So it was real, not just a misunderstanding. You were involved emotionally and physically?
Claire hesitated. Yes, but it ended as soon as I realized he loved you. I swear, I never wanted to destroy your life.
Emma let out a shaky breath. The anger and hurt were still there, but hearing the confirmation made it more real, more concrete. No more guessing, no more uncertainty. I don't know what to do now, Emma said quietly. I need to decide if he's worth trusting again, if any of this can be repaired. I understand, Claire said softly, and I'm truly sorry. You deserve better than this, Emma. Hanging up, Emma felt a strange mix of relief and despair. The truth was out. The lies had been exposed, but the damage was done. She didn't know if she could ever look at Lucas the same way. When Lucas returned home later that evening, Emma confronted him again. I know everything now, she said. Every detail. And I need to know, why me? Why did this happen with us? Lucas looked at her, tears in his eyes. I made a mistake, Emma. I was weak, and I let myself be pulled into something I shouldn't have. But you're the one I love. I always have been. I failed. Emma's heart ached. She wanted to believe him, to forgive him, but the betrayal was too sharp, too fresh. I don't know if I can forgive you, she said softly, but I also don't know if I can walk away. Not yet. I need time. Lucas nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. I'll wait, he said quietly. I'll do whatever it takes. And for the first time in days, Emma allowed herself to feel a flicker of hope. But it was fragile, delicate, and uncertain. She knew that rebuilding trust would be a long, painful journey, one that would test both of them in ways they hadn't imagined. That night, Emma stared out the window again, reflecting on the storm she had survived and the storm that was still to come. She realized that some truths, no matter how painful, were necessary, and some betrayals, no matter how deep, could be confronted and understood, but only if she was brave enough to face them. Her phone buzzed softly on the nightstand. Another message from Lucas. She didn't open it immediately. She let it sit there, a reminder that the next choice she made could change everything. And deep down, she knew that when the truth came out in the worst way, sometimes the only path forward was through it, not around it. The morning light spilled across Emma's bedroom, warm but hesitant, as if the world itself didn't know how to greet her after everything that had happened. She sat on the edge of the bed, coffee untouched beside her, staring at the floor. Today felt like a turning point. She needed closure. She needed clarity. And most of all, she needed to decide what came next. Lucas knocked softly before entering. Emma, can we talk? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she studied him, noticing the weariness in his eyes, the tension in his shoulders. He had carried his guilt like a heavy coat, and now it draped over both of them. I want to be honest, he said, taking a cautious step closer. No more half-truths. No more hiding. Whatever you need, I'll tell you. Emma drew a slow breath. I need to understand everything. I need to know why this happened, why you let it happen, and whether I can even trust you again. Lucas nodded, his hands trembling slightly. I failed you. I let Claire back into my life because I thought I could handle it. I told myself it wouldn't matter, that it was just harmless. But I was wrong. I lied because I was afraid of losing you, and in doing so, I lost your trust instead. Emma felt the sting of those words, but she also felt the weight of truth finally resting between them. The honesty was painful, but it was real. Do you love me? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," Lucas said immediately, his eyes locking onto hers. "I love you, Emma. I've loved you from the start, and I never wanted to hurt you. I made a terrible mistake, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it right, if you let me." Emma closed her eyes for a moment, letting the emotions flood through her. Love, hurt, betrayal, hope, all tangled together, impossibly complex, but undeniably present. She had always believed in honesty, and now here it was, the raw, unfiltered truth. "I swore I'd never lie again," she said, repeating the promise that had guided her life. "And I meant it. But I also believe in forgiveness, in second chances. I just don't know how long it will take to get there." Lucas stepped closer and gently took her hand. "I'll wait, as long as it takes. I'll do whatever you need. No lies, no secrets, just us facing everything together." Emma's heart ached, but there was a fragile thread of hope weaving through it. Perhaps love wasn't about never making mistakes. It was about facing the consequences, taking responsibility, and being brave enough to rebuild what was broken. The next few weeks were not easy. Emma and Lucas spent hours talking, unpacking every detail, every hurt, every fear. Sometimes the conversations were tense, filled with tears and anger. Other times they were quiet, filled with reflection and small moments of reconnection. Emma learned to trust slowly, in tiny steps, testing Lucas's honesty and his commitment. And Lucas learned what it truly meant to be accountable, to face the pain he had caused without excuses. One evening, after weeks of hard, honest work, they sat together in the park where Emma had first confronted the storm. The city lights shimmered on the water, and for the first time in weeks, Emma felt something like peace. "I never thought we'd get here," she admitted softly. "I didn't know if I could ever forgive you." Lucas took her hand, squeezing it gently. "I know, and I can't erase the past, but I can promise to be better, to be honest, and to love you in a way you deserve." Emma smiled faintly, a small, genuine smile. "I think I can try to forgive, not because it's easy, but because I see the truth now, and I see you, really see you, and I still love you." Lucas leaned in, pressing his forehead to hers. "I love you too, Emma, and I'll spend every day proving it." The wind rustled through the trees, carrying away the lingering shadows of betrayal and heartbreak. Emma realized that the worst of the truth had come out, yes, but it had also opened the door to something stronger: honesty, connection, and the possibility of healing. For the first time since the lie had been revealed, Emma felt the weight lift slightly from her chest. The road ahead wouldn't be perfect. There would still be moments of doubt, flashes of pain, and reminders of the mistakes that had been made. But she had chosen to face it, to confront it, and to decide for herself what love could be. And as she held Lucas's hand and watched the city glow around them, Emma understood a profound truth. Sometimes the worst truths don't end the story. They begin the part that matters most. Together, they could rebuild. Together, they could heal. And together, they could choose honesty, trust, and love, even after everything had seemed lost. The past had been painful, the betrayals sharp, but Emma felt a sense of quiet triumph. She had faced the storm, confronted the lies, and emerged stronger, wiser, and more certain of herself than ever before. And in that quiet, golden evening light, Emma realized that the truth, however devastating, could be the foundation for a love that was real, enduring, and unbreakable. The storm had passed. Now came the calm.